Ladies and gentlemen and robot programmers, we're going to do robotics lesson 5C, and we're going to figure out how to code it. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is download and open up the sketch from Google Classroom. That'll be our starting point. And there's actually nothing new in this lesson as far as there's no coding structures that are new. There's nothing really new. What we're doing is we're piecing together things from other lessons, and we're kind of figuring out how to piece it together and make it work. All right, so let's get started with that. Let's take a look, first of all, on page 104 and write down what are the two things that we need to do. Well, there's a big loop. If the switch is on, then we're going to do this, 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 and this. If the switch is off, we're basically going to do nothing. We're going to stop the motors, right? So, but if the switch is on, we're going to drive forward. If no obstacle is detected, we're going to drive forward. If there is an obstacle detected, we're going to stop. Then we're going to back up. Then we're going to turn right. And then if no obstacle is detected after we stop, back up, and turn right, then we're going to start driving forward again. Okay? So that's going to be the structure of this program. So we're going to see what that looks like in Arduino language. So answer this question: what are the steps of this project? And let's take a look at the code. So your code is going to look something like, if I can find it, it's going to look like something like this. Okay. So we're going to have the instance variable declaration area. So this is all done for you. Now this one is not done for you. So we have to set up the distance variables. So look back at 3C for help. These variables get set up with so this should be a constant. Okay, so if it's going to be a constant, it's going to hold an integer and be named trig pin 5 and hold 6. So it should look something like constant int. The name is going to be trig pin and then equals 6. And then this one is going to be something like constant int echo pin equals 5, just like these. Okay. So, and if you want to, you can go to lesson 5. No, that's not it. You can go to lesson 3C and get some ideas. So in here, it's constant int trig pin equals 11, except for these numbers aren't right, but it's going to look something like that. So you can get an awful lot of help from 3C because in this project, we're combining, basically we're combining projects. So we're adding a bunch of, because we have the distance sensor added to the motor control thing. So it's like basically combining 5B and that old 3C. All right, so let's go back to this. The amount of time that the robot will back up when it senses an object, it should be named backup time, hold an integer, and be equal to 300. So it's going to look an awful like this. It should say something like int backup time equals 300, something like that. See if you can figure out this next one on your own. All right, hopefully you can figure some of these things out on your own. All right, so void, now we're done. Now we're done with the instance variables. Let's look at the void setup. This is a constructor. It helps set the project up. This special function or method runs one time right at the beginning to help set things up. All right, this is similar as in 3C. Look back for help. These methods set up the trig. Man, my spelling is terrible. Trig pin is output and the echo pin is input. So again, we can, if you go to 3C, you know, it's going to look an awful lot like that. All right, see if you can figure it out. Okay, I think that's it here. And then now we're into the game loop. This is the code that runs over and over again. It's very similar to the ACT method in Greenfoot. So we have to use the get distance method to find out how far the object is from. So this is directly from lesson 3C. So if we look down here, it's in here. There's an example right there. I'm not even going to point to it, but you can look in here and see if you can figure it out on 3C. Okay. Now here's where it gets tricky. So now we're getting the distance. We're asking our ultrasonic distance sensor to get the distance, and based on that distance, we're going to do this. we're going to first of all look, is the switch turned on? Yes, okay. If there's no obstacle, then drive forward. If there is an obstacle, then we're going to stop, pause, back up, pause, turn right, pause. And then at that point, if we've backed up and turned, and we're just going to look to see if there's anything in this new direction. And if there's nothing, then it's going to drive forward. If there's still something, then it's going to do it again, back up, pause, turn, pause. All right, so let's take a look at what this is going to look like in the code. So we're started this thing. We're getting the distance. By the way, we're coming down here and we're reading this method down here, get distance. We haven't finished this yet, so it's not going to work yet. We'll have to come back down there and do it. Anyway, it's calling on that user-defined method, get distance. Where are we at? Okay, so then now we start our loop. Hey, is the switch on? Okay, so from here all the way down to here, is the switch on? Okay, this is all the stuff we do if the switch is on. This is all the stuff that we do if it's off. If it's off, then we stop the motor, Okay, all right. So we're starting our if here, our main if, and then all of this stuff is inside of that if. Okay, so we have, now we're inside this if, we have our second if an object is detected and is less than 10 inches. Well, where are we gonna find some code like that? Well, here it is right here in old 3C, so we can copy some of this stuff like that. Okay, so if it's less than 10 inches, what are we going to do? We're going to print some stuff. We're going to stop. So you want to write code here to stop the right motor, write some code here to stop the left motor, and write some code here to delay. See if you can find that code. The next thing we're going to do is back up, back up the right motor, back up the left motor, and delay. And then finally, we're going to turn. So move the right motor forward, move the left motor backward, and delay. So see if you can find the code that goes here, 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 here. And then we have our else and our bracket all set up for us. So this is saying if the object is close, if no object is close, then we're going to print stuff, and then we're going to move the right motor forward, move the left motor forward. And otherwise, if the switch is off, we're going to stop, and delay. All right, see if you can get all that going. Pay attention to how the brackets are working once you get that code in there. Okay, so our right motor function is already created. Our left motor function is already created. And now we're left with the get distance, but you can copy that and paste it from 3C. We have the get distance method there. You can just copy and paste it. All right, I hope that works for you. Good luck on that. All right, that's it for now.